A criminal case has two main parties: the prosecution, which represents the government and the public interest, and the defense, which represents the accused person. The prosecution has the burden of proof to establish the defendant's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, which is the highest standard of proof in the law. The defense has the right to challenge the prosecution's evidence and present their own evidence and arguments to raise a reasonable doubt or show a legal justification or excuse for their actions. A criminal case can be resolved in different ways, such as by a plea bargain, a trial, or a dismissal. A plea bargain is an agreement between the prosecution and the defense to resolve the case without a trial, usually by having the defendant plead guilty to a lesser charge or receive a reduced sentence. A trial is a formal hearing before a judge or jury who decides whether the defendant is guilty or not guilty based on the evidence and arguments presented by both sides. A dismissal is a termination of the case without a resolution, usually because of insufficient evidence, procedural errors, or other reasons. As a citizen, I might explain a criminal case as follows. A criminal case is when someone breaks the law and gets in trouble with the punishment. Having a trial is when both sides go to court and tell their stories to a judge or jury who decides who is right and who is wrong. Dropping the case is when the government side decides to stop the case without ending it, usually because they don't have enough proof, they made a mistake, or something else. As a foreigner, I might explain a criminal case as follows. A criminal case is when the government of this country accuses someone of doing something against their laws and tries to prove it in court. A law is a rule that everyone in this country has to follow, or else they can face consequences. An example of doing something against their laws is killing someone else. A criminal case has two groups: the government group and the accused group. The government group represents this country and its people, and they have to show that the accused group did something against their laws and that they are very sure about it. The accused group represents the person who is accused of doing something against their laws, and they have to show that they are not sure or that they had a reason for doing it. A criminal case can finish in different ways, such as by agreeing, fighting, or quitting. Agreeing is when the government group and the accused group decide to finish the case without fighting in court, usually by having the accused group say sorry for something less bad or get less consequences. Fighting is when both groups go to court and tell their stories to a judge or jury who decides who is right and who is wrong. Quitting is when the government group decides to stop the case without finishing it, usually because they don't have enough evidence. They did something wrong or something else.